Welcome to the Business Babble. So I have on my right Johnny, my left Wicus, and myself Michael, and we're here to talk business.
Good afternoon, gents. How do I find you on this glorious day?
Find me very excited.
Been a good week?
Been a good week, yeah.
I've had a fantastic week, actually. It's been pissing with rain outside, but that's wonderful with the flowers.
Remember, we live in Scotland. No such thing as bad weather, just bad clothing.
It's cleaned my car quite well, though.
Ish.
Ish. So we're going to jump straight back into it. Business. How do you start a business? Michael, what would you say? What are the ways that you could get into business?
Well, you can buy into a business that's already up and running. You can get into a partnership. You could be offered shares in a company to get started in a business. That's something that happened to me early doors. But you can also just start up your own business and grow that little baby.
And I think that's where we're going to start today. We're going to start with, how do I start my own business? Now, if I had to ask you, write a letter to your former self, and you right at the beginning of this journey, and I know, Johnny, you're only 21.
I know, of course.
So if you had to write a letter to your 19-year-old self, what would that letter say? About your business journey. What would you, what piece
Glad you
of advice?
clarified that one there.
What
This
would
is going to
be
be a
that
long letter.
invaluable piece of advice be that you would give yourself?
I would probably say a couple of things. Don't sweat the small stuff. Don't sweat it. Don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say meet new people quicker. So what I mean by that is network. I'm a big ambassador for networking. I would say my 19-year-old self, get out there and start networking.
Okay. Michael, what would you give your 31-year-old self?
Hey.
Because you are a little bit older.
Yeah, I would say the planning. It's a big thing. You want to start planning and have set goals and timescales for how that journey is going to go. So you've got these things to achieve and reach, and once you get there, it's great. Then you're now moving on to the next one.
So,
Start with the end in mind.
so you want to create a bit of a roadmap.
Yes.
And I'll preface this to say that a plan is not necessarily a measure of success of a business, nor is it a guarantee that your business is going to be successful. But if you don't know where you're going to, how will you know that you've got there? How will you know that you've arrived? So creating a bit of a roadmap would be something that we looked at.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if I had to ask you, how did you start this business? Johnny, how did you start your business?
Well, the reason I started my business was basically I'm a hard worker. And I just wanted to reap the benefits of my hard working than someone else doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing against my ex-employers. I just knew I wanted to benefit from my hard work and my dedication, where others lacked in it. And I think, yeah, hard hitting, but that's why I did it.
That's
I
why you
think
did
that'll
it.
hit a chord with quite a few people.
G chord. Twing.
And Michael, because you've got quite a few businesses.
Yeah.
Choose one of them and tell us why you started it. How did the journey develop for you?
The first one would be the letting company Moonlight, and that came about just because of the customer service or the lack of, and the agents that I'd tried with the property portfolio I'd built up, and it was quite horrendous actually. So I saw a gap in the market there. Is what I felt, and the feedback from my tenants, it was the same thing. These issues, and just it was all good when you were getting the keys handed over to the agent, but after that, everything was really fell very flat. And I had a good thing going, with good relationships with tenants, and things just started to fall apart really quite quickly with it all. So I thought, I think I can do better here. So that's where that started up.
So what I'm hearing here is it both started with an idea and you were busy solving a problem. Now, very often when you think about starting your business, you need to look at what problem am I solving? And if I want to use a bit of an analogy, so I'm going to give you 3 scenarios. You could choose to be either a dog walker, a candlestick maker, or a supplier of groceries. Which one do you want?
Okay.
I'll go for dog walker because I've got a dog.
Okay, so dog walking. But we're trying to illustrate a principle. You can apply it in any business across any sort of industry you're in, whether it's a product or a service. But it's just to illustrate that. So you have a dog.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? The problem is you need to walk your dog.
Right, okay.
But during the day you work. And then one day you get annoyed with your employer and you decide, you know what? I have to walk my dog. Maybe I could make a living out of this. Because I see other people having the same problem. Surely they have the same problem because they have to work. Who's walking their dog? Okay, start of an idea.
Right.
How do you test that that idea is actually viable? That it is actually something that's going to bring you in money? How do you do, big word, market research? What would you do? And I'm going to pause you there because I'm going to jump to Michael.
Okay.
How would you research the Michael?
I think an easy start, if you've got a dog, then you are walking your dog and you will meet a lot of dog walkers out on your little walks. So I would just be asking the question straight up as I meet them, because you'll always start chatting and you can find out if they're using a dog walker, try and find out how many dog walkers are in the area. And that's just a start of our market research there. You can phone up as a dog owner asking how much they're charging for the dog walks, how long do they take them out, and really just try and get as much information about how they're running their businesses. And just seeing where the positives are and what you maybe see as pitfalls within what they're doing and what you could do better as a start.
Johnny, what would you do?
He's taking all the great ideas.
Sorry about that, John.
So I'm looking for your out of the box ideas.
Yes. Right, so you put me on the spot, even though I've had like 30 seconds to think about this. So everything Michael said, I would agree with that. But out the box ideas, I would probably look at the local kennels, how many dogs they take in, maybe going in as a potential customer, and figuring out where all the dogs are geographically coming from. Look at the local vets, speak to them, befriend them, how many dogs are getting in, where are they all coming from, if they allow that, and really starting to think outside the box. I would even see, you could get, this is getting the data, that's what I'm looking at, the data collecting, to see how many people that are walking their dogs, how many people are not walking their dogs. So again, what you're back at what you're saying is, how many dog walkers are there? Is it a saturated market? Am I going to find a gap in the market? And what am I going to do differently?
So that's fantastic, because what you've just done is, not to use a step analogy, but what you've just done is you have an idea, you're solving a problem. You've just validated, is there a market for my specific product or service that I'm offering? Very, very simply is different ideas. And this is where you need to challenge yourself. Don't go with the norm. Try and think outside the box. Do as much market research and validation as you possibly can, because that's the start of it. Because what you don't want to do is you rush in and go into lots of debt, and then, like you say, it's a saturated market, or you find it very difficult to break in. Now, let's just say you've validated the market. There's definitely a need for what you do. What would be the next thing that you would do, Johnny?
I would look at how much I'm wanting to earn from this job. So I would go back from my target here. So say it was £500 or £600 I wanted to make per week. Then I would look at how many dogs I could potentially walk legally, how much a car, a van, all the tax, the insurances, the miscellaneous costs, like running the engine, the tyres. I'd work out all my costs, what it actually cost me to run my business. And then I'd work it back from how many dogs I need to take. I'd also think about the costings of walking a dog. And if I find that the costings is not working, then I would have to offer a better opportunity to potential clients to increase the price, be outside the box.
Would you do anything different, Michael?
I think the prices, that your pricing structure is quite key. You need to know what Johnny's saying is exactly right. How much are your outgoings? Then how much can you then charge to make, not only covering your outgoings, but make profit on those outgoings? And then, there's only going to be a certain level you can price something at within that industry before you're pricing yourself out the market. And you certainly don't want to get involved in an industry that's a race to the bottom. Mm-hmm. So it's just finding that, I know when you're starting up it's a bit difficult and you sometimes just have to get going with it. And once you've made that choice, stick by it, and evolve. But I think, your pricing structure is pretty important at the start, just to make sure you're not running yourself into a big hole.
So what you've just done is you've just described a perfect costing and pricing structure. And to summarize costing, all the costs, it's all the costs that it costs you to run the business. Your car, your time, how much you want to earn, if you want to make 500 a week, 600 a week. And in pricing, how much profit do you want to make? So that's called cost plus. costing methodology.
And I think where I see a lot of problems with people when they start out is they've done exactly what we've said, and that they price their outgoings, but they don't price in their wages.
Yeah.
So the profit they're making is actually what they're using as wages,
Yeah.
whereas you need to price in your wages and profit.
You need to take
'Cause it's
all
a
your
business,
costs
yeah.
into account. Not just, very often business owners pay themselves last. They don't even look at that.
At
And I
all,
think-
sometimes.
Yeah. And I mean, the highs are high and the lows are low. So when you do this costing, take all your costs, how much you need to survive a week, what everything costs you, and that gives you your cost base. How much profit do you want to make? So let's just say it costs you £1,000 a week, and you want to make £200 profit. You say 1,200 is my selling price. But then, like you say, Johnny, you walk it back to dogs. How many dogs do I need to walk to make 1,200? And if you charge £12 a dog, you need to walk 100 dogs. Is that feasible? Is that achievable? Is it practicable? Is it sensible? You need to ask yourself these questions and evaluate yourself against these sort of things.
And that's when you're looking at the pitfalls, the sort of downsides to, what you're looking at is like, for example, if people are doing their working hours, are you going to be able to get enough people that are out of the house long enough that you can walk their dogs for them? But we'll discuss things like that a bit more in a later
In a bit of
episode.
detail.
But yeah, it's
So
not-
if I had to summarize for this session,
Yep.
is number one, you have an idea, write down your product or your service offering. Be very detailed, be very specific about the benefit you're offering and how you are different. Number two, validate, market research. Make sure there's a need and that the market's not saturated. And point number three, make sure that you cost and price so that you make money out of this. Because
Yeah.
else, what is the point of being in business?
perfect. Some good golden nuggets there.
So what we're going to talk about next week is we're going to be looking at who and what are your competitors? How do you get your product from suppliers? What are things that will influence you? How do you move things around?
Your route to market.
Route to market, definitely a good one. Because remember, this is your business.
Yes, at the end of the day. And this is also, it's your world. So shape it before someone else does. We'll see you in episode 2.